And we're back. I'm Kimberly Diamond, and you're watching The Human Factor on Now Media Television. Let's dive back into today's conversation. Welcome back. I'm joined by HR and DEI powerhouse Nikita Poindexter. In this segment, we're unpacking a tough truth. It's accountability. Many leaders struggle to take responsibility for their part in workplace issues. When it happens, it can cause problems with trust and performance, and can quickly erode the team dynamic. So what do you think happens when leaders avoid accountability, Vikita? I've seen it in various environments that I have worked in, and it's always somebody else's, you know, it's somebody else's error. Somebody else did it, not me, type of thing.
Sure, sure. So the first thing that I say, Kimberly, is leader. Your team is a reflection of your leadership. So if your team is not functioning correctly or not doing the things that you need them to do, then you have to take a look in the mirror to see because you're the coach, you're the leader, you're the one that sets the tone and responsibility. And you have to be able to, even as leaders, we're continuously growing, right? And so we haven't perfected this thing called leadership. I mean, I've been in business now for 26 years. I've been in HR now for 35 years. Next year is still going to be 35, and the year after that is still going to be 35, right? Because I am not going to date
You're not going
myself.
up on the number.
I'm not going up on the number, right?
I
And
hear you.
so we have to take a look in the mirror to say, what is it that I can do to redefine myself? And so leaders have to be able to do that because if you don't, the employment dynamics have shifted. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
have different generations within the organization. You have baby
Exactly.
boomers, you've got Gen X's, you've got millennials, and then you have
Mm-hmm.
Gen Zers. And you can't lead Gen Zers like you do baby boomers. That is not going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you want a successful team, you have to stop, take a look in the mirror, and say, okay, what is it that I can do differently so that number one, my team knows that I support them. I'm here to help them with the trajectory of their career path. If there's conflict, what portion did I play in that, if any? And then how do I resolve that? So leadership starts with be leader. Because you're also in a position where you are grooming and coaching your future leaders. And if you don't have that mindset, then that's a challenge in itself because you should always be training and coaching your replacement. Because at some point in time, you either want to elevate yourself as a leader to the next position, or if you're the small business owner, you want to grow. So, I mean, I think that's the first thing. You have to be willing to say, just because you take a look in the mirror to say, how do I need to improve, doesn't mean that you have failed at something, right? Failure is an event, not a person.
Right. Right. Exactly. It's not that they failed. And it even starts in the beginning. As I see this when it comes to the hiring process, right? When they are looking for that person to join their team, they really need to take ownership to
Right.
that process. And the leaders really need to be engaged in that. And sometimes it, like you said, they make decisions, and I don't think that they think it through the whole dynamic of their team. And it's almost like, oh, shiny ball. I'm going to take this one, right? So I agree with you. They really need to look in the mirror and see how they're going from the beginning of that process through their team, through their coaching and everything. So that's wonderful. I think absolutely need to take your advice on those processes. Um, well, what happens when the teams trust, with the team's trust when they avoid accountability? Like, what do you see the change in the dynamic when they have that avoidance uh, personality at that point?
It erodes the team. I mean, that's the biggest piece. It's destructive to the team. You
Yeah,
know, when trust is lost, you might as well start creating exit strategies because it's very hard to build trust back when it's lost. Number one, it's hard to build trust from the very beginning from an employer employee perspective. Once you have it, you have to be able to nurture it. You have to also remember that employees are not square pegs that are going to fit in round holes, right? You
exactly,
have to be
exactly.
vested. You know, I tell people this all the time. Everybody wants to be a leader, right? They like the title, they like the pay, they like the benefits, they like the alleged, and I use that word, freedom and flexibility, because as a leader, you do not have that if you are a true, authentic leader. But they don't understand that when you're dealing with individuals, you're dealing with people, right? And people are not processes and systems. And so you are there to help navigate their career path while they're currently at your organization. You also have to be able to understand they're not going to retire from you. And so, what you want to be able to do is allow them to be the best version of themselves while they're currently working with you, so that when they continue on in their career path, you have inputted or um, um, inputted is not the necessary word I'm looking for, but help them with whatever it is that they're trying to achieve in their career path. Those are traits of great leaders. The default to that is lawsuits, legal actions, employee complaints, harassment complaints. These are things that happens when a leader doesn't take accountability or responsibility. When you're consistently pivoting that over to the employee is not going to just take that lane down. There's calls to HR. There is Googling how to sue my employer on the internet, right? And it gives them a
Right.
step-by-step guideline, let alone chat GPT or any AI services. It'll tell them exactly what to do and who to call. So leaders have to be even more in tuned on making sure that they take accountability, even if they feel like they haven't done something wrong. It's not about wrong or right. It's about I'm the one that's in charge of this department. I'm the one that's overseeing this group of employees. I need to make sure that I've done my due diligence.
Exactly, exactly. And then how do they get that courage to look in the mirror and make those changes? Because some, it again, avoidance, lack of accountability kind of all goes together, right? So how do you teach a leader to kind of take that step back, look in the mirror, and make those adjustments?
It's all about, again, it stems back from that first statement I talked about is communication. One of the things I talk to leaders is like, listen, um, we have got to kind of see what your leadership style is, because that's part of the challenge outside of communication. Most leaders do not know their leadership style. They don't know their communication style. So what they could be trying to communicate could be received a different way. So number one,
Hmm.
do you know your style of communication? Do you know your style as a leader? Because once you know those two things, then your recruiting becomes better, because then you will recruit people that you actually know can work with your style of leadership. Um, we also have to remember that most leaders are promoted within the organization, right? If we're talking outside of small business, they've got great numbers, they've done this, great attendance, great attitude. Let's promote them. Okay, well, that's great that they've been a great employee, doesn't make them a great leader.
Exactly.
Leadership is not something that you learn. It's something that you're taught. It's something that you learn. And so when you don't take accountability, you're literally saying that I know it all and I don't need to learn anything else. As a leader, as an individual, as a human being, you need to always be in a constant state of learning. And that's what a leader needs to be able to do. Just like you want that employee to be the best version of themselves for you, you need to be the best version of yourself for them. You got to pull off that pride and say, I don't know it all. I don't have all the answers. Let me take a deep look at myself first before I can tell somebody else to correct what I think their deficiencies are.
Well, that's very true, and that's not easy for a leader or even anyone,
It's
to
not
sit
easy
back
at all.
and take that personal deep dive. But it's very encouraging that you bring that to the forefront when you're dealing with these leaders versus, I think that's very important and it's a great attribute of your organization. So, well, can you share an example where a leader's personal accountability transformed the workplace?
Sure. Um, I have a CEO of an organization that's a small business. I think they have less than 25 employees. And this leader, this CEO is very headstrong, my way or the highway type of mentality, um, employs family members as well. Um, and their style of leadership just was not working. And
Hmm.
so we were getting constant complaints regarding that, because our firm is sometimes the HR department, but we don't have an office on site. So we get phone calls from employees and they have just had it. And so they were like, I'm just leaving. I was like, okay, wait, let's press pause. Everybody calm down. I picked up the phone and I called the leader and I said, let's have coffee, because some conversations don't need to happen over the phone. We met for coffee and I said, listen, you had a problem within your organization, and I'm very direct and straight to the point when I'm trying to get something across to him. I said, it's you. You are the problem. And I said, I know you personally, and I know you don't have any malice intent, but your style of communication and the way you are micromanaging is like a tyrant. And so
Hmm.
we need to change that, because you're about to have a revolt with your team. So they're not going to sue you. They're just going to pack up and leave. And then what are you going to do? I said, that's including your own children. And so it was a wake up call. I said, so
Hmm.
we need to fix that. So where is this stemming from? And so I had to peel all the way back to childhood for them to be able to see you're dealing with unresolved issues as a child that is impacting your ability to be successful as a leader and a CEO of your organization. So let's get you into some coaching. Let's get you into some therapy. And we need to, and therapy is not a bad word, people. Let's deal with some of these unresolved issues because what we've started to see over the last 2 years is an increase of individuals from a leadership level, C-suite and above, that are dealing with unresolved issues as children that have just trickled. And it has created them to be the person that they are today. So you have to deal with the stuff that you refuse to reveal. You can't heal from it. And so went through that for like 6 months, was a total shift in their mindset, how they interacted with individuals,
Wow.
how they led their team, how they started recruiting individuals. And now they've doubled in size. And these
Oh,
same
wow.
employees that were there for them, that were ready to do this revolt, was like, we don't know what happened, but we like the new you. And it's not the new you, it's the improved you.
Improved you, right. Went through the issues, found out what was underlying, and having
Right.
them react as they were. So that's wonderful. What an exciting story. That's great. That is
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, Nikita, for those who want to learn more about your coaching and consulting work, where can they connect with you and find your resources?
Absolutely. So you can reach out to us at, pcghr.net. Definitely catch me on LinkedIn. I'm definitely one of those individuals that's on LinkedIn. And you can also send me an email, which is Vikita@pcghr.net. And I'd be more than happy to respond to you. I respond to every single email. Um, I only turn my phone off when they tell me I need to do a system update. So feel free to reach out. Feel free to reach out to me. And I will do whatever I can. I just like to be able to equip leaders to be the best version of themselves that they could possibly be.
Well, that's great. Thank you. Well, coming up, we're staying with Nikita. We're going to talk about the fear of speaking up and why employees often stay silent, even though they know something's wrong and that they really should be sharing something with their leaders. So stay with us. But remember, you can catch all your favorite Now Media programs on Roku TV.
We'll be right back with more stories, insights, and real world strategies for leading with purpose. This is The Human Factor on Now Media Television.